Hey, Seth David here from the world famous Nerd Enterprises Incorporated, and I want to show you something. I actually had a call with my good friend and colleague, Mariette Martinez. Many of you probably know her, and I was walking her through what I've been building in terms of my upcoming Bulletproof Notion project. Some of you were probably on my webinar a couple months back where I gave you my roadmap for what I'm going to be working on throughout the rest of the year, and this was a big one on the list, and it's scheduled to be released right at the end of this year, 2023. And as I'm walking through these templates with Mariette and getting her reaction to it, I was kind of blown away by how blown away she was by the whole thing. And I actually wanted to get her feedback because I wanted to show her, some of the templates that I've been creating that are included in this. It's basically like a big template filled with lots of templates. And so the full project is going to come out with a course and lots of videos and instruction on how to use it and how to create things. But right now, Mariette and I agreed that the value of the templates alone by themselves, and they come with lots of instructions for how to use them already, just kind of little things I've written up and included, and I'll show you examples in a minute. So that on their own, the templates themselves, we agreed to have a value of probably around $500. So what I wanted to offer for anybody who's interested in taking advantage of this opportunity is that right now is like an early bird special for anybody who wants. You can get access to the templates in the state that they're in right now for $197. It will be $495 when the project officially launches for just the templates, and then the whole project, including all the video lessons and things, will be the normal Bulletproof price of $2,497. So I want to encourage people to take advantage of this because in addition to getting early access to the templates, and of course any new updates that I roll out to this I will make available to anybody who has signed up. But I want to get your feedback. I want to get your ideas for what kind of templates you would like to see. Nothing too client specific. Remember, this has to be enough to sort of be useful to everyone, or as many as possible. But certainly if you have ideas for a general kind of template that you don't see here that you might, that you think might be useful, then by all means, please let me know. So let's dive in and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. So when you do get this, you'll be looking at this page. Up near at the top right, you'll have a duplicate button. Of course, you got to be logged into your own Notion account. When you click duplicate, it will copy the whole thing into your Notion account. So you will get everything that's inside of this page, which is everything I'm going to show you. So let's jump right down to the actual template here. That app wiki is another thing I'm working on that may or may not actually end up surviving this thing. But anyway, here we are. So you're going to get this template. What you'll do is rename this and probably call it, your firm name, company wiki, because that's really what this is going to be. It's designed to serve as your full-fledged company wiki. All the information you need to have available to yourself and your employees is here. And there's going to be some places I'll show you where you can certainly share things with your clients. Anyway. So the first thing is, on the surface, it doesn't look like much, and that's by design. A well-organized system should have things neatly tucked away. The way I like to describe it always is organized, categorized, and easily referenced. Okay, so the first thing you have is daily, and when the official project launches, I'll dive more deeply into how this journal is supposed to work. But very quickly, the journal itself is a template. Every day you launch a new one, and you'll fill in the full weekday, day number, and year. And no, there's not a way to dynamically do that automatically. Plus, I've actually found, because I do actually do this myself every day, that there's something about writing out the full date like this every day that kind of, it gives me perspective. It's like, okay, today is, and so on. So I actually find it useful on a number of levels. Over here, you've got instructions. This is what I was talking about. A lot of these templates have instructions built into them. And very quickly, I've just created space where you can drop links. So the idea here is, and I explained this to Mariette, is that you're going to live in your journal. So every day throughout the day, this is the first way that we reduce, if not eliminate, a lot of the stress that we encounter throughout the day. Because you randomly stumble on something, somebody sends you a link, and right away you're struggling and your stress levels go up because you're like, I want to save this, I don't have time for it now, but where do I put it? How do I make sure I put it somewhere that I'm going to be able to find it later? And this is your answer. You're going to put it in that day's journal, and that's the capture part of David Allen's capture, clarify, organize, etc. in getting things done. So you have a place to capture it so you don't have to think about it anymore. One less decision that you have to worry about every day. And then later when you get to the organized part is when you're going to review your journal entry and decide if there's a more permanent place, like for bookmarks and things, to put it, right? These are questions that I answer every single day, first thing every day. Sometimes I skip it, but most days I do it. Over here, you've got a few really cool little things, right? So I can just, I've given you buttons to make it really easy. So I can create a new section and start writing notes. The idea is you create the item here and then drag it down. The instructions are right there explaining to you to do that. Now you know how to do it. This is cool. This is, and you're going to see the CRM part in a minute. I can write from my daily journal, which again, if I'm living in here, then while I'm on the phone with a prospect, this might be the time while I'm making notes about that call right here in this journal. I can click Add a Prospect. This actually opens up a page that lives in the CRM area. So while I'm in my journal making notes, I can quickly get the person's contact information and get them added in here as a prospect. So I'll just put new prospect here, and you'll see where this shows up in a minute. Okay, and so there's all kinds of tools in here that I've given you, and then process every night at some point, last thing in the day, just kind of start planning mentally for tomorrow, right? And so I love answering these questions at the end of the day. What happens is, let's say I know I have a client that I meet with every Tuesday. I don't have to necessarily worry about how to find this stuff because I can go into the search and type Tuesday. And then here's all the Tuesdays that I've logged.
Oh my gosh, so cool.
And so then if I'm like, oh shit, I forgot, I know there was something in the meeting we had a few weeks ago, now I can quickly browse through these. I've got this set for what's called side peek, which is how that pops out from the side. And I can quickly just jump into any day's notes, and go find something. And then what I might do is copy and paste into a note in that client's work area. That's the journal, and really this is designed to be kind of the central part of this whole process, right? Notion gives you these breadcrumbs so I can quickly get back up to the template here, okay? So that's the journal. Here's the CRM, right? Notice these are both, I put them in daily because to me these are two areas. This is first thing every day, always, and keep it open all day. Anything else you open in a new tab, right? This should always be open and accessible so that in 2 seconds I can get to it and jot down whatever thought popped up or whatever other stimulus came in that I need to make a note about so I don't have to worry about where did I put that later on. Bulletproof CRM. You'll see there's the new prospect I just created. I'm going to delete him for now because I don't need him. And I have myself in here with a dummy company called Acme Inc. Now, where does the company Acme Inc. come from? Let's jump right over here to planning and work management. Essentially, this page is your client list. You're also going to add your own firm as a client, kind of your own client that you work on to manage all of your internal stuff, right? And so here's the work management database, which includes Acme Inc. right now. And if I back up to my CRM, that is what we're seeing linked here. So this is the CRM. This is a database where you include the names of all your contacts. And I've got it linked so that ultimately, as I add more contacts and assign them to the same company, they will all show up here when I go over to Acme Inc. in the contacts area. Right now it says primary contact. I'm going to change that because this is going to be more than just primary once you've added 2 or more contacts from the same company. Okay, so we've got these two sort of linked databases. Makes it really easy to manage all your contacts. And again, when the full thing is launched, you'll see how there's different tags you can use to categorize contacts. Like one person might be a prospect. You might have others who are just contacts at an existing client. I promise all of that is taken into account in here. Websites and bookmarks, great thing to have central in your company wiki. All the bookmarks to all the things you use regularly. I've kicked it off for you with a bunch of links, and where applicable, I put my own affiliate URLs, right? Because why not, right? If I'm going to refer you to these apps, and if you're not already using any of them and want to, might as well do that, right? So obviously you can replace these with whatever, add to it all day long. No problems there. Now back into planning and work management. We're going to go create a new client real quick so you can see what this looks like. Okay, and I'm going to expand it. And so right away, as soon as I create a new client, it just launches a new client template. Okay, here I would assign the primary contact. Let's just use me to save time. Okay, next due date here is going to be the next day I plan on working on this client. So since I'm just setting this client up today, I'm going to put in today's date. And by the time I'm done for the day, I'm going to change that to whatever the next day is that I plan on doing work for this client. Then any of the details of what I'm actually doing for this client are going to be described down here in this part. Now, I've given you some sticky notes so you can put some high-level notes, reminders, that kind of thing over here, right? I always find this helpful. And as I start to add new items, tasks, and things here, you'll see what quick access does. But very quickly, what will populate here in the quick access section are any things I create down here that are defined as something that's some kind of a to-do, whether it's a task to do or maybe it's meeting notes from a meeting that I still need to follow up on. All of those things are going to show up in here until I change their status to something that is kind of filtered out of there. So let's click on New. I'll click the drop-down arrow, actually, because now you can see the list of templates that are already here, right? And it's already a lot, actually. So when I click the drop-down, here I'm choosing what is it I'm trying to create for this client. Is it a new task that I'm going to work on? I've got 2 different templates for tasks, simple and detailed. Let's say it's meeting notes, right? So let's say I'm having a meeting with the client. I'll click on that, and again, this is yet another template. So we literally have templates within the templates, right? And so it fills out the item type for you because of what you chose here. The status is inbox. These statuses are designed right behind the whole David Allen getting things done method. So I'm going to discourage you from changing this or changing it too much. It's designed with this in mind, that this is sort of perfect, actually, if you start learning how to work within this framework. Because if you start adding all kinds of extra stuff here, it defeats the purpose, and again, it will create more stress instead of reducing or eliminating stress, which is the whole point. Okay, so everything starts out in the inbox essentially. Then if you're waiting on somebody, it goes there, so it still remains to be done. It's still a to-do, but it's waiting. In progress, the calendar scheduled means it's scheduled for a particular day, and on that day it's going to get done, or at least get worked on. And then when I'm done working on it, if I still need to do more work on it, I just update the next due date, right? And you'll see that here in the background. Okay, next action items are things I haven't scheduled yet, but I need to do them next or soon, like they're important. And then the rest of this is pretty straightforward. Projects that are in the planning stages and projects that are current, ongoing, right? So the distinction would be that, and not so much in the meeting notes, because the meeting notes are probably going to go straight to be like a reference item, right, that I'm going to refer back to, or they could be next action items if, in fact, there's stuff in here that I have to go back through and maybe create tasks out of them, to make sure that I follow up accordingly, okay? Assigned to on a meeting note template would be probably whoever's running the meeting. Is it my meeting? Is it Dave's meeting? And so on, right? Over here, I've just given you the space to keep track of everything you need to in a meeting. After you're done, you're going to drag and drop the video. If it was a Zoom call like mine all are, I get the video from Zoom, I drag and drop it here. I can share this page with my client and say, here's the notes from our meeting today. It includes a video replay of our whole entire call. Clients love that when I do that for them. They eat it up. All right, the rest of this is pretty straightforward. I've got your space for agendas for 2 people. When you get access to the course eventually, I'll show you how you can easily add more people to this and so on, right? And then over here is where you just track all your follow-up action items, right? And this is just one way. So I have it called Template V1 because my plan is to create other meeting templates, and this way, depending on the purpose, nature of the meeting, or just simply what you like better, you might choose one versus the other. So notice now that I've got something in the work management area for this client with the status of next action items. It shows up here under quick access because it represents something that needs to be done. If I change this status to done, it goes away out of there because it no longer needs to be done. So this is automatic based on what kind of a status you give it, right? Waiting, I probably could take out of there. It probably shouldn't be there, right? And so all of this will be further configured by the time you get access to this. So that's one template. Another thing that I think is really cool is the document management system. So if you don't already have a system for this, if you're not using a tool like Lissia or something to get documents from clients, you use this template, create a new page in Notion. You can share this with the client, and you might have to just go through it with them on a Zoom call and explain to them how this works. But it's pretty straightforward. It starts you off with just a blank. And you can go in here and it's pretty straightforward. Over here is where you click to upload the files. If it's something like a Google Doc, you can embed the link here, same thing, and you can add multiple attachments here. We have 2 dates, a document date and then a reference date. The distinction is sometimes I'll get a notice this year that refers to, let's say, last tax year, in which case this reference date would need to be, December 31st, 2022. And what you'll see is then it picks up the reference year and month based on the reference date. So if they're the same, great. If not, you can make that distinction because this is the date that matters in terms of when later you have this list of hundreds of documents, and you want to quickly filter for everything from the year 2022, and then maybe further chisel down to everything from December of 2022. But it might even be that you just need everything from 2022 that's got a tag of taxes, right? So this whole thing, and so this is another field where I've already started you off with a lot of the most likely kind of descriptors you'll need to describe what kind of document is being uploaded, right? And your client may not care to take the time to choose this, but you will. And the point is, as I've just illustrated, is that later on when you're looking for something, you can quickly filter this list down. If it's federal tax notices you're looking for, if it's actual tax returns, if it's anything tax related, you can just pick all of these and everything's there, right? So this way, when I filter for any of these items later on, this particular document would come up. So this is a great and simple document management system that's easy to collaborate with people on. And that's the idea here, is to make it easy. So if you have a system already for this, then you just don't need that template. You would simply not choose to use it, right? That's all there is to it. The templates don't cost you any extra, so don't worry about it. It's, and if you really hate it, you could delete it, right? But I wouldn't recommend doing that. Let me show you the request for information, and then we'll kind of wrap up here. You can see there's a bunch of stuff. So under request for information, this is one of the first things you're going to do as part of the onboarding process with a client. And you're going to come in here, and there's 3 different types of requests you'll use. This is designed that you would only likely create one of these pages for any one client. And then you would come in here, and here's the banking access request. And I've got instructions for you here on how this works. So you can invite the client in by sharing this with them and let them enter the different financial institutions that you need access to get statements and reconcile, and they can give you the information. Or, probably more preferably, if possible, just have them invite you in and create your own access, and then you would simply log your access, to the different institutions here. And this way, when you are collaborating with your own bookkeepers and working with them on it, this page can be shared with the bookkeeper. You'd have the whole client shared with the bookkeeper who's working on that client, and within that, they'd have access to this, right? Backing up, you also have the uncategorized income and expenses request. So this has a table. I've started it off with a page that gives you instructions. If you're using something like Keeper, which does this really well, then you just don't need this. And in that case, you could actually just delete this so that it keeps that out of the way. And then here's just the general information request. So any other kind of information you need to request from the client, you can use this. Again, you'd share it with the client. And as it says here, toggles can be great for checklists, right? And so either way, as you learn your way around Notion, you'll come up with your own ways perhaps of how you add things to something like this. But the idea is you could use this one information request for whatever specific thing you're requesting, then mark it all items complete once they've actually gotten you everything, and then you would use the same template again another time. So once this is gone up here, actually I have to add that. I set these up just as pages. I will add them in as individual templates so you can reuse them if needed. But this I'll add in as a template in case you want to use this as one-off requests, right? So this is, I know I went really fast. As you can see, it's a lot to cover, and I've been talking for almost 20 minutes already. So, and there's more. There's much, much more to this, and I'm going to be adding a ton to this. This is the one project that I'm probably most aggressively working on right now because I'm that excited about getting this out to the world. So again, I'll reiterate, if you're interested in this in very early access, $197, and I would love to get your feedback. And then, of course, you'll get access to all the updates. It won't cost you any more. If you ultimately decide you want to sign up for the full Bulletproof Notion project, including all the video courses, the courses and everything, then obviously I'll kick you back the $197 that you paid now because I wouldn't want you feeling like you were paying for the templates twice. So that's the deal. If you have any questions, you know how to find me. Reach out to me. I would love to get people in here at this stage, and you can help me to create this by helping me give me feedback, explaining what kind of templates you would like to see, especially as you go through it and you think of something that you think should be here and I don't have it here yet. Nothing would make me happier than to get that kind of feedback directly from the people like you who would actually be using this thing. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. As always, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something here. I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day, and I look forward to seeing you in the galaxy.
I love it so much. Seriously, Seth. Oh my God. I am so excited for you. This is like, it really is just amazing.